Why would you need to cruise and deal with danger and risk when there is Grindr? Makes no sense. And in the 21st century, you aren't helping the image of gay people by being arrested for soliciting in a toilet. Have some class, for God's sakes. YouTube hits bottom. Only perverts cruise bathrooms. Sick, sick, sick. Wow, trying to pick up guys in a smelly, sticky, foul bathroom, that is unhygienic. How desperate. Hey sexy, welcome back to the channel. You know, some of my very favorite videos that I make for this channel are also some of the most polarizing. Got me thinking, I wonder if I like making them because they're polarizing, or I just like making them and they are polarizing. I don't know. I've been told in the comments that I'm disgusting, I'm dragging our community through the dirt, and basically that I should be ashamed of myself for even talking about the subject of cruising. Here we go again, because in this video, we are going on a little gay history lesson to see why cruising exists and how it's evolved over time. Okay, gays have always existed, we all know that, but our relationship with the rest of society has been, shall we say, a rocky road. Let's take ancient Greece, for example. In those days, it was normal for an older man to take a young boy under his wing for sex. He was teaching him about being a man, and it was also to curb population growth. This dynamic was about power and dominance and rarely about love. But at least they didn't have to sneak around to do it. Fast forward to Europe and we're in the Middle Ages. Religion has weaponized homosexuality, irony of course being all of those gay priests. Now we have men being burned at the friggin' stake for even being accused of sodomy. Homosexuality becomes evil. It's the devil. It's a cardinal sin that will land you in hell. So, obviously, people freak out and the gays have to go underground. Does sex stop? Of course not. But now you can't be seen doing it and no one can ever know that you even think about it. So, men would meet covertly in the woods, on hunts, and in alleys and passageways. It's the start of cruising culture and the beginning of the secret cruising language we all know today. It's a look, a gesture, a foot tap. It's a dance that varies from region to region and from century to century, but as long as the persecution lasts, cruising and covert sex will thrive. I think it's really important to note that the 1%, meaning anyone of royal descent and people with titles like dukes and earls, etc. These people did whatever the fuck they wanted to, and those archaic laws against homosexuality were only meant to keep down the 99% of the rest of us. Basically, not much has changed in that regard, I suppose. Moving on to the Renaissance. How could a time that's called rebirth and have such a pretty name be so cruel to our people? Men who are suspected of sodomy were fined, imprisoned, or publicly humiliated. Again, gay sex is rampant in the bustling cities of northern Italy. Just don't get caught if you don't have a title to your name. Now let's go to London. It's the 1800s and gay men start to congregate in places called Molly houses. Molly, of course, being slang for marry. These are taverns and pubs where men would meet to socialize and have sex. But in July 1810, the White Swan Molly House is raided. 8 men are convicted, 2 of them are hanged, as per the sodomy laws that were created by Henry VIII from all the way back in 1534. I mean, Henry VIII is the last person we should be taking relationship advice from, no? Okay, before I go on, a huge shout out to my newest patron, Samuel. Welcome to the Patreon family, Samuel. Patrons of my channel get perks, like advanced access to episodes, behind the scenes content, personalized videos, and more. You can find everything at patrickmarano.com. And let me know down in the comments, how do you like to cruise? Okay, back to gay history. Now we found ourselves in 1898 in Germany, and finally, after centuries of being hated and hunted, a theory comes out stating that homosexuality is actually not abnormal. Of course, this isn't really read or believed by the majority of the population, and gay men continue to meet in secret for sex. They're cruising the dark, deserted streets, and they're meeting in secret rooms and taverns. And it's in that same country, Germany, starting in 1933, where any gay organization, book, or business is banned. The Gestapo makes lists of known and suspected homosexuals. Many gay men flee the country afraid for their lives, while others play the role of dutiful husband to their forced upon wives. Between 1933 and 1945, 100,000 men are arrested. Half of them are sentenced to prison time, while another 15,000 are thrown in Nazi concentration camps. And in those camps, the death rate is 60%, and gay men are among the most tortured and abused prisoners of the Nazi regime. Now, during that same time in America, homosexuality is seen as a psychiatric disorder or disease. And conversion therapy is widely accepted as a means to enact that change. Homosexuals are humiliated and they're tortured in the hopes of becoming the ideal, which is heterosexual. They're using electroshock therapy, which kills and maims scores of subjects in the name of science and progress. So what do you think gay men were doing during these days? Were they dancing on pride floats and sequin booty shorts to Kim English? No. They were hiding in the shadows and meeting in secret. They're cruising the parks, they're cruising the toilets, they're cruising the alleys, anywhere to not be seen and not be caught. I'm a visual person, so let's take a look at a map of the United States. We see the years in which each state decriminalized homosexual intercourse. And even with Illinois being the winner here, it's still bittersweet since it took until 1962 for that to even happen. And that's the good news. Look across the map, we see huge swaths of the country in red, pink, and yellow. Some of the states still criminalizing gay sex up until 2003. And who could forget, don't ask, don't tell, the official US policy of military service implemented in the 1990s. When the highest office in the land tells you to shut your mouth about who you really are, as if to say, okay, it's okay what you do privately, we just don't want to know about it because you're gross and we actually don't agree with what you're doing at all. This is going to screw with your head. The policy actually prohibited military personnel from harassing or discriminating against closeted homosexuals, but at the same time, they barred openly gay people from military service. Again, it's okay, you can do you, but just pretend that you don't. These are the brave men and women putting their lives on the line for their country, and they're being told that who they are isn't accepted. And this policy stays in place until 2011. And even today, there are countries around the world where being gay will get you killed, including Yemen, Iran, Brunei, Mauritania, Nigeria, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Afghanistan, Somalia, Sudan, the UAE, and Pakistan. Now, listen. I got you. I know what the naysayers are thinking. Patrick, we don't live in Iran, and this is 2021. We're not living in the Middle Ages. But hello, homophobia exists, my friends, in the highest levels of our world, in politics, in religion, in the fabric of our society, and inside of us. Some of us are lucky enough to live in bubbles of partial acceptance, and for that we should count our blessings. But for so many queer people, cruising culture is their only outlet to connect with that gay part of themselves. So hate all you want, but cruising was born out of necessity. It's an important part of our history, and it continues to be a vital part of many people's lives. But hey, you don't have to believe me. Just read the comments below. And listen, if you enjoyed this video, you're gonna love exploring my cruising playlist that you can find right here. So go ahead, click here, and binge the videos right now.